Hiya Greg, just following up on the recap with the irons. We touched on a few key points with your driver also. We used the left shoulder as a 0 point. You can see here at the start of the work with the driver, you've got your golf ball, a ball in front of 0 point, which is encouraging a little bit more of an upward strike and therefore making it more difficult to shift the path to the right. Now, as the hips begin to tuck under more and you hit out for longer, we may want to revert back to this ball position. But for now, what I'd like you to do is to have the ball approximately one ball back of 0 point, which is just giving us ever so slightly a descending blow. We levelled out to sort of 1 degree down on the angle of attack and therefore an outward hit on it. So we're trying to just put that ball position in a little bit more of an appropriate position for you at the moment. As you become better at sliding the hips, tucking the hips and shifting the plane to the right, then yes, granted, we can move that ball a little bit further forward in the stance. But to be honest with you, I quite like the look of your setup as we see it there on the bottom right hand side of your screen. It's almost like the in-to-out path is built in there, if you will, whereas on the top right of the screen you've got to go looking for that in-to-out path, trying to almost create it during the downswing. One of the things we discussed at the start of your session, a nice way to catalogue things, was what the right heel was doing. You can see there the right heel much less popped up and turned around, rolling inwards and upwards as opposed to popping out and rotating round. At the start of the session, we also see that there's much less, I'll just get rid of this line here, there's much less retention of the flex in the lead knee at the end of your session compared to the start of your session. So our lead knee is starting to straighten more, partly because of the work we did with your irons and partly because of what we discuss next in regards to your driver. The feeling of the weight loading into the lead leg on the way back was good from P1 to P2, and now we start to drift off and the weight starts to diminish from that lead leg. So the position we end up with now is a centre of the shoulders, allied to a ball position that's further forward. We're now very much behind this ball, and if we were to slide and tuck from there, we would have the most stuck under plane shifted to the right position at P6, which is one of the complaints that you've had. So what we're seeing here now is a ball position that's more towards the centre, which is actually 2 balls back of where it was at the start of your session. And the advice I've given you is to do everything for longer during the backswing. And when you do that, what we see now is a much more appropriate centre of the shoulder turn, more in line with the centre of the stance, allowing you to control what's happening with the angle of attack and the path of the club much better. The hip girdle is also much more stable during the backswing without drifting off. It stayed in a nice stable condition throughout, ready to slide and tuck under on the way through. On this one we've got a slide, tuck under and lunge across at the same time, and again both shots hit and filmed from the same position, but look at the difference in the head in relation to the ping sign that was up on the wall behind you. So the hips have moved forward more and the upper axis has maintained its stability on the bottom right, whereas on the top right the head has moved back. The hips have attempted to go under but haven't actually moved as far forward as what we see on the bottom right. So much better move in total on the bottom right than on the top right. Just pull that through. We then started to work on, I'll try to encourage you to make a little bit more club head speed, and one of the good drills we gave you for that was to hit it hard and stop quick. Now this drill works on many levels. I gave you the video to watch of me demonstrating the changes that apply to me on a personal level when doing this drill. The first thing you're going to find is you get back into flexion a little bit better as you change direction. That right shoulder working down and around rather than just down underneath, getting you trapped. The other thing that you're going to start noticing is in order for you to stop quick, the arms must stay on the rib cage. For the arms to stay on the rib cage, the hips and the knees must come out of flexion and start to extend and tuck under. Otherwise, the body won't continue to rotate. If the hips don't come out of the forward flex and the hips can't rotate, the body tends to straighten up. The extension is just in the upper spine and the arms get flung off the rib cage, as per what we use the example of Tom Lehman in the through swing, where there's not much extension of the lower body, but a lot of extension of the thoracic spine, throwing the arms off the rib cage. So we're going to see the exit start to lower. We're going to see the rate of closure on the club face start to decrease. We're going to start to see the lower body work much better, because we've removed the ability to just fling the arms at the golf ball. Then we must extend and stretch the spine off and use other sources of power, much more conducive to good consistent hitting. So it's a good controller of the circle that we're swinging in, if you will, and it's also a great generator of some club head speed. But all in all, again, add that to the work that you did with your longer game, with your longer irons and mid irons, and you're going to start seeing some good changes in the swing. You see the bottom right, much more stable axis, much better extension through the ball, and on the bottom left, super position from down the line, great looking follow through, with the arms leaving the rib cage less and the right foot banking in more as the hip slide and the extension starts to kick in. Good luck with it, have a great Christmas, all the best to you and your family, and I look forward to meeting you again in 2014. Well done.